So the applicants arrived at the dealership. You've set an appointment for he or she to come and interview with you. We've talked about you must be there. You can't let them sit and wait. It doesn't work. It's bad. Remember, those people are customers that are now applying for a position at your dealership. If that goes astray, they're going to tell somebody, and you might lose a potential customer, let alone an employee. So we have to take care of that person when they come for their appointed time. Now, let's talk about the interview a little bit. There's a million different ways to interview people, and I've heard a million of them. and quite frankly, a lot of them are bad. And quite frankly, I did a lot of them the wrong way. So I can talk firsthand on this subject. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself interviewing each person differently based on their age, their sex, their nationality, the way they're dressed? If they're 5 minutes late for their interview, or if they're 20 minutes early, or if you're stressed, if you've got too much going on. My point is, too often we interview people on the fly. We interview the interviewee, the potential employee, based on who they are, rather than what we're looking for. How do we get rid of that? Would we all agree, first of all, that that's wrong, that's bad? Well, sure it is, because that's how you end up making mistakes. When you tailor that interview to the interviewee, you're making it easier on them. You're kind of going towards their personality, their comfort zone. And that's not necessarily what we're after here. Now, I don't want to push them off the edge of a cliff. However, I do want to be able to differentiate each and every person that I talk to for a position, regardless of what it is in the dealership, based on the exact, and I mean word for word exact, scripted interview. Yes, scripted. See, this is so, we script calls in our BDC. We script service calls. We script to the receptionist. We script the road to the sale. But have we ever thought about scripting the most important thing that you're going to do? And that's bringing on a new employee, because all the processes, promotion, product, everything doesn't work as well as it could without the proper professional people in place. And that takes place when they come in there to interview. So I want to use a scripted interview for sales, a scripted interview for service, a scripted interview for the admin office, a scripted interview for each department, and then maybe some different ones within those departments. I don't want to vary off that at all. Now, I also want to be in control of that interview. I don't want that interviewee to be able to wander into 20-minute stories. In my opinion, and based on the research that we've done over the years, and we're talking about over 1 million interviews, that interview really, 12, 15 minutes, the first interview, 12, 15 minutes long. I want to get to it. I want to really get into their head. To give you an idea, and folks, take me up on this, we will make our sales interview, which covers a lot of things. It could cover the receptionist, it could cover sales and service as a service advisor, parts sales, showroom floor, internet sales, BDC, really any sales position at all that has anything to do with sales, and most of the dealership does. I'd be happy to give you this interview, but parts of it that I find interesting is some of the questions that I'd like to ask is, what book are you currently reading? Or what was the last book that you read? What's your favorite movie? What do you do for hobbies? If you go to a fine restaurant, what kind of entree would you eat? If you're going junk food, what's your favorite junk food or dessert? What would you do there? What do you do on your weekends? What's the thing that you and your family most enjoy doing together? I want to learn about that person. What do you think in your last position was your biggest accomplishment? Tell me what that might be. And if there's one thing, if you could narrow it down to one thing, what is it that you'd like to have out of your life, your work life? So that and many more questions, but my point in this video, and I'm going to wind it up here, is got to be a scripted interview. Interview everybody exactly the same. Don't interview them based on anything other than them being an applicant that you're going to interview, so you can differentiate between all of them. We'll talk more on the next The Recruiter.